Now, Eastside Community Media presents the 2019 Candidate Forums. Race for City of East Peoria Mayor.
Welcome to Eastside Community Media's Candidate Forum for the East Peoria City Mayor. The election will be held on April 2nd, 2019. This forum, along with our Commissioner Election Forum, the Candidate Forums held by the City of East Peoria Chamber of Commerce on March 1st, and the Fond du Lac District Library City Forum held on March 13th, will all be available for viewing on Eastside Community Media, Comcast Channel 22, i3 Broadband Channel 12, and on our website and Facebook page. A few details about this forum before we begin. Both candidates for City Mayor were invited to our studio to record answers to 4 questions that were provided in advance. Candidates drew numbers to determine the order in which the candidates would appear. With each new question, we will cycle through the candidates, giving each the opportunity to answer first. Candidates were given 2 minutes to give introductions, 3 minutes to answer each question, and 2 minutes for closing comments. Before we begin, I want to thank you for taking the time to learn more about the candidates running in this local election. We feel an informed public can make an informed decision at the polls. We will open with candidate introductions, starting with Timothy Jeffers.
For the last 12 years, I've had the privilege of serving as commissioner over the water and wastewater departments. I've enjoyed tremendously working with staff and all that they've done to welcome me from the very beginning until even now. I mean, we work together and I've enjoyed so much their input as we work to make our department more effective and more cost effective. It's highlighted by this last year we saved over $400,000, and I think as the mayor, as you look at a city as a whole, these are the kind of things we want to do, is work to save money and still maintain great services and great product. We, through the suggestions of our employees in Public Works, in the water department, specifically in this case, through their ideas and their input, we were able to reduce manpower by 1 in one of the water plants, because we could do it and still continue to do our EPA mandated jobs, and we could still do it and maintain coverage 24/7. And we did it, and they said we can do it with 1 less person, and it's happening, and we're saving a lot of money with that. My experience in industry gave me a wide variety of overview of different skills, people skills, multitasking. As mayor, you have your area. In our case, you have the mayor covers the police department and the East Side Center. But as mayor, I see the big picture of the whole city, working with our other commissioners to try and bring about good results. And so my experience in industry all those years helped me very much as I dealt with over 50 dealerships worldwide, as I dealt with government contacts, my engineering peers in Warren, Michigan. A program that I was on for 15 years that had a budget, an annual budget of over $45 million. I've seen big numbers, I've helped manage those numbers, and I can appreciate what we have here as the city. We are a company, but yet we are a service company where we serve our public, and I think that's so important. I am also a very strong proponent of education and training for our city staff and mentoring. These are things we must invest in, and by doing so, it gives our people the tools they need to do the job, whether it's a physical tool or software or everything in between, to get their job done. And by doing so, we make for a better East Peoria, better service for East Peoria for all of our people. As mayor, I believe I have the experience, a broad-based experience, to help bring in consensus and work together to get it done.
Greetings. I'd like to begin by thanking Eastside Community Media for hosting this forum, as we share in our belief that well-informed voters make well-informed decisions. I'm John Call, I'm 53, married to my wife Allison, and I have 4 children, Jared, Ashlyn, Genevieve, and Evan. Also have a fur baby named Biscuit. I'm a veteran of the Gulf War. I currently work as a territory manager for Cisco Gas Supply. I'm currently on the City Council as the Commissioner of Public Health and Safety. I serve as the Chairman of the Tazewell County Consolidated Communications Governance Board. I also serve as a member of the East Peoria Human Relations Commission. In what little spare time I have left, I have the privilege of serving as president of the Teresa Tracy Strive to Survive all-volunteer nonprofit organization. I'm looking forward to answering the questions in this forum and giving you the ability to get to know me better and see what my vision is for the city. Thank you.
Question number 1. What do you see as the main issues facing the city of East Peoria?
East Peoria is not unique in its set of challenges. We have high pension costs, worker comp costs, aging infrastructure, poor street conditions, and the list goes on. So how do we face these challenges? What do we do about it? I've always held the position that raising taxes and fees is not the answer to our problem. We currently sit on a debt schedule to the tune of $122 million, and that debt schedule runs through the year 2033. The city itself will be facing about $11 million in debt per year through the year 2027 before that debt falls in half and frees up some money for the city to address some of these additional issues that we face. I believe that the city needs to do a better job of controlling costs, and on my first term on the council, I've shared as much, and I know the city rolled up its sleeves and we've done the best that we can up to this point, but I think we have an obligation to continue looking into the cost of the services we provide and ensure that we're delivering those services in the most cost-effective and efficient manner possible. I think one of the keys moving forward is what's been recently discussed in the budget meeting, which is needs versus wants. We have to prioritize these, and moving forward, we're going to have to take small strides and allocate funds accordingly to address these issues over a long period of time.
I see one of the biggest short-term needs facing our city is that of being short approximately $2 million annually in our capital needs. I'd like to say we had more than enough to do all the things we want to do, but that is not the case right now. But it will change. In my view, our number one priority is the one that costs us the most if it's left unfilled. Which one do we take care of first? Which one is it? It's the one that's going to cost us the most if we ignore it. And in my view, there's one clear answer for that, or one clear direction. It's obvious, and that's streets, street maintenance, street construction. And let me ask you this. If we had a tornado come through East Peoria, and we've unfortunately had that happen. I had it take out my neighbor's home, gone. We had some damage at our house, but if we had a tornado come through our neighborhood, through our city, we would do all we could do. We would throw everything we have to clean it up, to rescue people, to make it safe, work with the utilities, work with the police, the fire to make sure we had safety. I remember walking down the street where I live, and there's the trees all down. I'm wondering, where's my house? And it was thankfully there. But we would do that. In the same way, we have this situation right now, short term with streets, that we must address, and we will address it. There's ways we can do that. And I think we can look at ways one way I would do that would be to actually make priority of it over other programs, like I said. It's number one. But work with staff, work with ways that we can increase our productivity. I think also, as we know, in our present political climate, the state of Illinois is considering a capital funding bill. Speaking with Senator Kaler and others here in the area that we've got to know over the years, they're very confident there will be a capital spending bill coming. We don't know the amount, we've had some estimations, but here's what I say. We need to be ready so when that capital bill is signed and made law, and dollars are made available to us as a city, that we have projects ready to go. And we do have them right now. We've had these projects on the books for years, some of them. We just haven't had the money to spend it. But I believe we should fund all engineering, have all the plans made, so when that money hits, we can take advantage of it and make best use of our resources and take care of this problem, short term and also long term, as we'll see later. Thank you.
Question number 2. What do you see as the issues facing the city of East Peoria in the future?
Long term for the city of East Peoria, I see things as quite bright. We have a great future because of what we've done in the past to assure a great future. We have invested a lot of money, for example, in our new downtown, which now we call affectionately the Levee District, as an example. There's been other investments in the city, and they're also there as a package. We can look at the Levee District, though, as our example right now where we're at. Currently, the city's return on investment, what we get back after all the bills are paid, the return on investment for the Levee District is about $1.5 million annually. And we see that by the year 2028, with the debt load dropping off, that we receive more dollars from the revenues of the Levee District, less dollars going to debt, more dollars for us. We see that number, our return on investment in 2028 will be approximately $8 million annually. If we had just another $2 million today on top of our capital budget, we think we'd be making all of our goals, basically, to maintain and move on with great services. But in 2028, we'll be looking at $8 million. And those are conservative. They may be down even 7 or they may be 9, but we think, and we're pretty sure we're going to be at 8 million based on our debt load. My point is this: we will have less issues with capital come 2028, and even much earlier as we work together with making it all work together as a package. I'm very happy to look forward to what's going on here. Now we have other issues. We have neighborhoods to work with around the city, and the city can set the example by providing the tools for neighborhoods to be cleaned up, good lighting, good protection, great streets in their neighborhood, raise the quality of life as we can in those neighborhoods. We have the older downtown area. We're working to bring that about, to help them establish in buildings of time past into a more pedestrian-friendly area. We're doing that. It's being done now in the Washington corridor. The old downtown is being done with the street situation there. It's going to be a great thing, and in the future, in the near future for that project, we'll see results very quickly. I think long term, though, there's one thing that we have to really be aware of, and that's apathy towards government. I've seen it, you've seen it on the national level, state level, I've seen it on local level. The state of Illinois has to really step up its game. Hopefully they will, because that affects us. And hopefully our feelings and emotions won't get us too hard in the meantime, waiting for some of these things to come. But in the meantime, the future for East Peoria is bright. We have a great financial package coming ahead. I look forward to it very much.
Without the state addressing pension and worker comp reforms, there's little the city can do about those rising costs. But they certainly are going to be a challenge facing the city in the future should they not be addressed accordingly. Some of the issues that we're likely to face in the future, one I've already mentioned prior to, which is the debt schedule that we carry. It's vitally important that whatever decisions we make moving forward, we have to do so in a fiscally sound manner. One area that was brought up in a most recent forum was, do you believe the city employees are paid too high, too low, or just about right? East Peoria has historically paid very high wages and offered excellent benefits. We have quality employees, but I think it's imperative that we take a look at the total compensation costs of the city, that we continue to always evaluate and ensure that we can afford not just to pay for the city employees to show up to do their job, but we're also able to pay for the equipment and meet the needs of the community as a whole. One of the topics that I've brought up in the past and discussed is our high property taxes here in East Peoria. The city's portion is only represented a little over 13% of your property tax bill, whereas our schools represent approximately 60%. I'm not picking on the schools, but I think it's time collectively all the taxing bodies need to sit down and figure out how we're going to address the property taxes moving forward, see if there's some type of alternative methods that we can implement to maintain our property tax rates. It's very important to do that if we're planning on retaining or attracting young families to East Peoria. One of the things that has been recently discussed is the school facility tax, which I've made publicly my position. I cannot in good faith support it and put our businesses at risk with a very high sales tax. So that's a possible future issue with East Peoria that will need to be addressed should that pass.
Question number 3. Do you feel the current city services serve the community, and what changes, if any, do you think need to be made?
I would not change any of the current services that serve our community. East Peoria is unique in the set of services that we provide. For example, we have a full-time fire department that also provides ALS certified paramedic service. We have full-time police protection. We have solid waste, recycling, sewer, and water. I think they've served the city well. I think we need to continue offering these services, but as elected officials, we do have an obligation to evaluate those services from time to time to always ensure that we're delivering those services in the most cost-effective and efficient manner possible without compromising the integrity of those services.
I believe our current city services match up very well with the city of East Peoria. I really do. There's a big if though on that. The big if is, as long as they have the resources to get their job done. If they have the resources to get the job done, they're second to none in the state, in my view. Just absolutely second to none. As an example, East Peoria has a 100% fire-based paramedic service. The best there is south of I-80. Very few departments offer what we do with a full paramedic fire contingent as we serve. We can be proud of that. We have a very well-trained police force, well-seasoned, one who, they work our neighborhoods well, they work with excellence, getting to know people. They are also well adapted to handle very large crowds which we throw upon them. For a town our size, 24,000 people, to have these big events like the Festival of Lights Parade, 4th of July, Winter Wonderland. We have some big events, a lot of tourism that comes in here in many forms. Our police are sometimes taxed with that, and they do a great job in responding to keep things safe and orderly. Water and wastewater departments are top-notch. We're entering into a large multi-year, multi-million-dollar rebuild, refurb of our wastewater plant and system. Together, with our upgrades that are here and that are coming, we have great capacity built in to our water and wastewater departments for growth. We're quite able to handle any big project, residential, commercial, that may add to our system. We can do it and do it very well. But the crews there are very well. They work very well. They're highly skilled, highly trained. They're on the job 24/7, just like police and fire. They're here to serve you. Our street department covers over 125 miles of roads and streets, and sometimes maybe not quite appreciated unless the roads aren't very good. They get blamed for that, or the streets aren't plowed as quickly as we would like. But give them the tools, give them the resources. They're second to none. They do a great job, and they are there serving us night and day as needed. Our street department does that. Our solid waste recycle does a great job. And with what they have, we've had some organization there, trying to save cost, and I know we continue to look at that, but we've tried to be a low-cost leader in garbage service and recycle, and to date, that's all folded in as part of your city's services. I hope that can continue. I really do. And I think with what we see in the future, the extra dollars coming in from our investments, that makes that even more possible. Let me go back and say I really appreciate street department taking care of those water main breaks when it's 10 below zero. You do too. We have a great city service group. If they have the funds to do their job, they continue to do a great job. I believe that.
Question number 4. If you are elected, what do you want to accomplish by the end of your term?
When I think about service for the city and serving as mayor, the question, what do you want to see accomplished at the end of your term? Well, I realize it's not just one person doing anything by themselves. Not at all. I know that. It will take us all working together to get these things done. But I like to list a few things. Some of them, I don't think they're really out of line at all. I really believe that they can happen. And there's things that I would set as, for now, I'd set those as priorities or a wish list of things, and not even a wish list, but a have-to list. At the end of my term, I'd like to see where we've invested $10 million in our streets. That's $2.5 million a year average over the next 4 years. Something I'd love to see happen, I've talked with Caterpillar about this a couple of years ago and we just haven't got it off the ground, would be an historic Caterpillar history walk where you can walk around the Levee District, where that site, as many know, is the site of many Caterpillar factories and parking lots really as well. But I worked in a lot of the buildings that used to be on that site, and I've had retirees and people from years say, Tim, it'd be great if we had some markers and things to remind us of our history and show us about Caterpillar and even other companies that were here before. To have this around is public interest, tourism, yes, but also for us to remember our history, because we don't want to lose those memories, but we can have that completed. I'd like to see 100 residential units completed and occupied in the Levee District area. We've talked about this for a long time. I'd like to see 100 units in. We should be able to see phases 1, 2, and 3 of our wastewater plant and system upgrade completed in the next 4 years. This could be very busy. Lots of construction workers in town the next few years. It's a great time for the city of East Peoria. We're upgrading, we're investing in ourselves. It's proven out. I believe the refresh of the Washington Street corridor, helping old businesses be rekindled with pedestrian traffic, better parking, that's going to be well done before 4 years. Here's one that I bring up, and I'm not trying to be contentious at all. I think this is good. I like to see us have an auxiliary police force return to our city ranks that could be in a position to serve alongside our professional police force to assist with 4th of July crowds, the Festival Lights Parade, East Side sporting events, all tourism, even things that we have in the Levee District that require manpower for crowd control. I think auxiliary police can do that. The Community Foundation, working with them as they're a nonprofit working to provide us great things as they look to finish, I hope, in the next 4 years, the Triangle Park down by City Hall and the library. And also my last thing I put on my list, to have 250 new single-family homes completed the next 4 years, City of East Peoria. These are great goals. I think they're very much doable.
East Peoria has been very progressive with its commercial growth throughout the Levee and the Farmdale, which is the Bass Pro business districts. It's important to our local economy that we continue building upon this foundation, and I'd like to do that with the addition of mixed-use commercial, entertainment, and residential components within those districts. With growth comes challenges, so it's imperative that we use sound fiscal judgment while making these decisions. I would like to place an emphasis on residential growth, which we've not had much of. I'd like to continue my efforts with members of our city staff, members of nonprofit organizations, and members of our business community in looking to revitalize the Richland neighborhood, as well as 2 other areas within the city that have been targeted. As far as other things that I would like to accomplish, should I be elected mayor, I think the city needs to continue working with IDA, which we've recently signed an agreement with, to do a complete housing assessment. As it stands now, we are targeting 3 different areas, which I mentioned we're hoping to revitalize. I would also like to implement some type of long-term strategy, not a year-by-year strategy, a long-term strategy to better maintain our streets. And at the end of the day, I'd like to better position the city from a financial standpoint. I hope to instill a sense of professionalism, accountability, and community pride in the way that the city conducts its business. And before I leave office, I'd like to say that the city is in better shape than it was the day I took office.
It is now time for the candidates' closing comments.
In closing, I humbly ask your trust in me. In my time on the council, I've been the voice of reason with your tax dollar. I've been the person who has said what needs to be said. And I've been the person that conducts the city's business with our citizens as my top priority. Your vote for John Call on April 2nd is our commitment together to making a difference in the lives of others through effective leadership, integrity, and accountability. Thank you.
It has been my pleasure to serve the city of East Peoria these last 12 years. When I was first elected, my wife and I were talking, Lynette, and she's been a great helpmate along the way. We were talking, reflecting about it after we were in it for a few months, and we said, you know, it's thrown us in a completely new people group. And even though we've been in the city I've been here my whole life, we've been here in my married life, we've been here all 40 of those years with myself and my wife. It's true, we know a lot of people, but yet to be thrown into and the opportunity to meet so many people, both in government, schools, the neighborhoods, it's been a wonderful pleasure of mine to have served. As I conclude these 12 years, I'm asking for another opportunity to serve you as mayor, to be an overseer and a servant still, serving the community for 4 more years. I believe I bring the experience, not just experience of going through the routine of these things, but you know, it's experience in areas where you've grown, where you've made good decisions, and you can look and see where you've worked with people and drawn people together. And I think if you look at my record as, not just a city record, but more so, our life outside the city, our homes, our churches, our missions that we work with. In my case, as I volunteer for Southside Mission, you see the life in a big picture. And we should bring those character traits from what we live outside City Hall to City Hall. City Hall doesn't dictate how our homes are. Our homes and our communities should dictate City Hall. As mayor, I pledge to work as a person, to know you better, to work with all the city, our residents, schools, state officials, doing my job the best. Vote April 2nd. Vote for me, Tim Jeffers. I ask for your vote. Thank you for your time.
We have come to the close of our candidate forum for the City of East Peoria mayor election. I want to thank the candidates for agreeing to participate, and to you, the viewer, for taking the time to learn about the candidates running to represent you. This forum, along with our commissioner election forum, the candidate forums held by the City of East Peoria Chamber of Commerce on March 1st, and the Fond du Lac District Library City Forum held on March 13th, will all be available for viewing on Eastside Community Media Comcast Channel 22, i3 Broadband Channel 12, and on our website and Facebook page. Remember to vote on Election Day, Tuesday, April 2nd. The polls are open from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. If you are unable to vote on Election Day, early voting is available at the Tazewell County Clerk's Office in Pekin or at several temporary locations throughout the county. Call the Tazewell County Elections Division at 309-477-2267 for more information. Remember that every vote counts, and we hope to see you at the polls on Election Day.
This has been a production of Eastside Community Media, public, governmental, and educational programming for East Peoria, Illinois, and its surrounding communities.